We had been married 14 years, and Bern's father committed suicide. This was a very difficult thing for Bern because his father had shot himself with a gun that Bern had given to him. He never really told Bern that he loved him or that he cared for him. And there was a deep hole in Bern because of that lack of love that he had experienced growing up. When I had gotten back to Montreal and I called home to Atlanta to speak to Bern, I didn't get an answer. And at first I wasn't really worried because I knew he was going to have dinner with my parents that night. So the following day I called, that was dinner, just checking in with him, and there wasn't an answer. Wednesday morning, I had still not heard from him. Then I asked my parents to go over. My mother said, I thought there might be something wrong because he didn't come to dinner Monday night. I remember sitting there in that room, and in Montreal, it was August, so it wasn't really cold yet in Montreal, not the cold that I'd come to know in the months that followed. But I knew that I was going to get a phone call. I could feel it. And 20 minutes later, my mother called, and she said, Bern did what his dad did. She didn't need to say he's committed suicide.
I did not know Dr. King. I knew Uncle ML. He always knew in the back of his mind the danger, but the thing that confirmed for him that he very likely would be shot, not just possibly, but the thing that confirmed is when he saw John F. Kennedy shot. I mean, he actually said to my aunt, if they can take out a president, I'm fair game. In terms of that speech, the last speech he gave, not only did he give that speech, but he did two things. One, he called and had a very long conversation with my grandmother. I mean, it wasn't anything heavy, but it was just, very long conversation. But he also did another thing. We still have those today at the King Center. For the first time in life, he sent my aunt some artificial flowers. He sent her flowers all the time because he was away a lot. So he would send her flowers all the time. This time he sent her artificial flowers. And when they talked, she referenced, hey, this is the first day. Nice. I mean, she wasn't complaining. And he said, well, I wanted to make sure that you have something to remember me by.
The way he found that he had cancer was he had a lump in his neck. And we went to the doctor right away, and it was one of his lymph nodes. So it was already stage 4. He had no other symptoms. He had no dry cough. He wasn't tired. He had no symptoms at all. So when they did the scan, they found tiny, tiny, tiny little tumors in his lungs, 3 of them the size of a pinhead. Let's just say you had a tumor come up in your leg or whatever, and they biopsy it, they can tell you exactly what organ it came from. Every cancer is different under the microscope. So breast cancer doesn't look like lung cancer. It doesn't look like liver cancer, the origin. So, when they look at whatever they biopsy, they see that cancer. And even though it may not be in that organ, that's what kind of cancer it is. It was very frustrating for him in the beginning when he found out because, he had done everything right. He had always exercised and eaten, good food and all that. He asked the doctor, how do you think I got this? And the doctor looked at him and said, does it really matter at this point?
I feel my daughter, her hands were on my arm. I guess my husband grabbed this arm because I felt the force just pull him. And all I hear is just so much sound of metal and scratching, and we're flipping around inside the vehicle. And as we stop, it's filled with dust and dirt, and I'm kind of out of breath. I feel like I'm like the wind has been knocked out of me. And I hear my son-in-law say, "Ma Dukes." He called me Ma Dukes. He always called me Ma Dukes. And he said, "Ma Dukes, is that you? Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I'm okay. Are you okay?" And then I started to flip out because I realized that no one else is in the vehicle with us except for him and I.
I asked her if she wanted to go see the kids. And I tried to tell her, I said, "Sissy, it's so bad. It's so bad." I said, "You just have to understand that this is the this is the shell of a human body." I said, "And we're not made to take trauma like that, to get thrown out of a car onto the highway at high speeds. And, I said, you have to understand that their spirits are gone. And this is just what it looks like when a human being is traumatized like this, And I had seen all three of them before, so I kind of explained to her the head abrasions and the different things that she could be prepared to look at. And I think that helped in some way, the impact of just walking in there and seeing your family all hurt like that. I know she's really focused on helping her husband get better and taking care of him. And I know he's depressed and sad and lost too, because he's lost so much of himself.
I think on the 4th day, they told me that he had suffered a traumatic brain injury and they didn't expect him to be doing as well as he did to that point. Initially when I spoke with the doctor, he just said, "I don't know if he'll pull through the night. I've done this for some time and, sometimes I'm able to save people and sometimes I'm not. And sometimes when I have saved them, they haven't wanted to be saved because they're in such bad shape."
Our occupational therapist was the first one that ever suggested mitochondrial disease. Because of that, he was very, very uncomfortable. And it got to the point where as we were feeding him, he would scream the entire time that we were feeding him. And we kept cutting back on the amount, thinking that we were overfilling his stomach. And eventually it just became not enough to live on. And he was still complaining every time we fed him. And we had to make the decision whether we were keeping him here for us at his discomfort or if we should let him go. And that is a decision that no one should have to make. It's awful.
I've never been so afraid in my life because you never think it's going to happen to you. It's always going to happen to somebody else. I had no renal function. All of a sudden, your body stops creating urine. You're not normal anymore. I mean, I can remember leaving dialysis on good days and going to Kroger and walking in with this big shunt in my arm, feeling drained, and watching people live. Going to the grocery store, planning, dinners, and, a boy and a girl in there buying groceries together and holding hands, or, and thinking, no one knows what I just left. They actually called my house, and I didn't hear the phone. And then I heard my beeper go off. I kept my beeper, and that woke me. It was a match, and I had a new organ. He was 32, and he died from a head injury.